Here we go again, talking about Kevin Love, the NBA, the GMs, and let's do a little bit of conversation about the social media outlets, and let's just talk about the media in general. Now, a little bit about K Love. I love Kevin Love, man. I think the guy is hands down one of the better power forwards in the game. Of course, there's not much to compare him to out there, but I mean, let's be honest. I mean, when the guy first came in, he was overweight. He was playing for UCLA. He was all right. He wasn't anything special. You know, I wasn't really feeling the guy's game. I didn't really think that he had what it took to be able to play in the NBA. It was a lot of hype surrounding him when he was coming out of UCLA. And I just really wasn't feeling the guy, not because, you know, he's a white guy or this or that. I just felt like it was a lot of talk about him, and I didn't really see him doing much of anything special in college, you know. So that's where I am, where I was with Kevin Love. But then the guy started slimming down, and he started knocking down outside jumpers, and outside jumpers became three-pointers, and, you know, not just the mid-range, but a three-point shot. And I was like, wow, you know what, this guy, you know, maybe he's all right, but I still wasn't sold on Kevin Love until he started averaging, you know, the double-doubles on a consistent basis, you know, throughout the entire season. So after that, man, I had to start giving the dude respect. You know, I mean, he started averaging double-doubles all over the place, you know, for an entire season, man. That stuff is not easy. And then he followed up, you know, the year after he started, you know, developing his game, you know. So he's gotten better and better over the years, and you know, it's just really no hating on the guy. I mean, you can't hate on what he's put together in a short amount of time, you know. So it's scary to see, you know, how much more he can put together and how effective he can really be in the next few years, and especially around somebody, you know, that can carry him over the top, you know, and you know, somebody that he can team up with, that he can help carry over the top as well, you know, that he can basically, they can enhance each other's skills. So that's a little bit about Kevin Love. Now, what I'm getting upset about is, you know, what I'm hearing through not just social media, but what I'm hearing through the media, period, especially ESPN. I mean, what you're getting from these guys now is they're saying that, you know, what they say is supposed to be golden, basically. What they're saying is supposed to be, you know, the holy grail of information. You know what I mean? If you don't get it from them first, then your source is incorrect. Your source is a waste of time. You don't know what you're talking about. So it's best that we're able to come together collectively and tell you exactly what we feel should happen, and you should listen, because you're not educated enough about this game to be able to determine for yourself what you feel is best for a player or for the NBA or et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I'm getting from these guys, and they want to be right so bad, and they were wrong about LeBron. They were wrong about Carmelo Anthony, you know, and because they were wrong, now, you know, they want to ridicule these guys' decisions and say that their moves were a waste of time. You know, they said that Carmelo was one of the perennial superstars in the game. You know, the guy can shoot, he can score, you know, he can add to any roster in the NBA. He's going to Los Angeles and team up with Kobe, and Kevin Love should go there too, and those guys will be unstoppable. They'll be unbeatable. And when they figured Los Angeles wasn't working out, it was, you know, he's going to go to Miami. And then when they figured Miami was not a strong possibility, then it was, oh, the Chicago Bulls. You know what? He should go to Chicago. He'll dominate in Chicago. He'll win a championship instantly in Chicago. Him and Derrick Rose and blah 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 blah. And everybody knows that Derrick Rose is not 100%. And even if he does come back, he still, has been out of the game practically 2 years, and he has to get accustomed to full game speed, full contact for 82 games plus the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of wear and tear on that guy. You know what I mean? Even if he does come back strong. So he's going to have to be, if Chicago's smart, they'll put him on limited minutes and hope for the best. But that's enough about Derrick Rose and Melo. I'm just making an example of how the media, tries to sell you on X, Y, and Z. And then when that don't pan out, these guys are mad and they start ridiculing what these young guys are doing, man. And now they've been saying the same thing about Kevin Love for a while now. They said what they said about him in the beginning. They were saying that he was going to Los Angeles, then it's Golden State, and then it's Chicago, then it was Boston, then he should team up in Miami. We think he's going to go to Miami, and then they even hadn't mentioned it with Houston, So it's just one of those things where I'm really getting sick and tired of hearing their opinion about what a player should do and how he should make his moves. And when he doesn't do what they want him to do, then they get mad. Now they're saying that he's a walking double-double. He's a 20 and 10 guy. He can even average up to 25 points in an excessive amount of rebounds. You know what I'm saying? They're saying that he's a dominant player. He's dominant at his position. And then I listened to ESPN, and this is more so on First Take, and then they're saying that he's what they've heard is he's a problem in the locker room. He'll point fingers at whoever's not balling or what have you. And then it's, he can't make the playoffs, and he needs to work on being able to make the playoffs and not being a problem in the locker room, right? So then they jump over, and then it's conversations about when Cleveland was making a strong push. They're still making a strong push for him. Then it goes into Cleveland should stick to Andrew Wiggins. All the GMs in the NBA are saying that they would not trade Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love. Kevin Love is not worth that type of trade. He's not worth this. He's not worth that because he's never made the playoffs. But in the beginning, it was Kevin Love is golden. Kevin Love is a walking double-double. Kevin Love has improved. Kevin Love can shoot the three-point shot. He can rebound. Kevin Love is one of the more dominant power forwards in the game. Now, because he wants to take less money and have an opportunity to go play with LeBron, because he specifically said that he wants to play with LeBron. Now now what Cleveland is offering is not enough for Kevin Love. They need to offer up Kyrie Irving of all people, and he already signed a $96 million contract. And then they say, he needs to they need to add in several other players to the mix, and so they throw in Bennett, and then they say, Bennett and Wiggins is not enough. They need to offer up another first-round draft pick. And we all know that draft pick is not going to be worth anything because Cleveland's going to make the playoffs this year. They're saying that, they're not. But come on, man, be realistic. LeBron had worse talent the first time around, and they ended up winning 60-some games, So I'm just saying, and yes, I am a LeBron fan, but I'm not trying to take up for the guy. I just believe that he can bring them back to promise, with the roster that they do have. They don't want Kevin Love in Cleveland. They want Kevin Love to go where they want him to go because they want to be able to create a story and have multiple guys spread it around the NBA so that they can, they can cover the way that they want to cover the sport, and then be right. You know, they all want to be right. So, you know, it's just one of those things where I see what's going on, and I get tired of hearing, you know, from the GMs. I mean, first of all, if the GM said anything, put them on the microphone. Let me hear all of these guys collectively saying that they would not dare trade their first round pick in Wiggins for a guy like Kevin Love. You know, if you're Cleveland and you're going after Kevin Love, that means that you want to win right now. You want to win now because you know that what he has to offer. What he has to offer is something that several players on that roster can't do in Cleveland. They can't get double-doubles. They can't knock down a shot on a consistent basis from mid-range and a three-point range. You know, and you know, Varejao is good, don't get me wrong. The guy can rebound the basketball and he can score in the paint. You know what I'm saying? But he's not drawing double teams. You know what I'm saying? He's not a guy that can pass the basketball well. And Kevin Love can. You know, sure, Kevin Love has issues on defense, but, you know, that's something that can be worked out. All I'm saying is that, you know, there is no way in the world that I'm going to say Andrew Wiggins is a better look than Kevin Love. You know, his upside this, his upside that. Kevin Love is still developing as well. You know, he's not an all-around seasoned guy. He's still developing. He still needs to make the playoffs. He still needs to play in some of these championship conference games. He still needs to play in the NBA Finals. So we don't know what we're going to see from him in the near future. You know what I mean? But I think he's making the right decision in wanting to play for Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? He goes over to Chicago. It's just going to be stupid. I mean, it doesn't make any sense for him to play over there unless you move Joakim Noah to the center and put him in power forward. Even then, they're still small. You know, the ball is not going to be moving around the way that it needs to in Chicago with two guys at power forward, you know, that practically do the same thing, except for Joakim Noah rebounds and plays defense. Kevin Love is more of an offensive dominant threat, you know, with rebounding and what have you. But the move in Chicago doesn't make sense. They want Chicago to be what they were, and Chicago's never going to be what they were when Michael Jordan was playing. You know, I don't care who they draft over there. And then on top of it, you know, it's a cold city and don't nobody want to play over there. You know what I'm saying? The market is starting to shrink in Chicago, and they really want that team to go back to the golden years of the 90s and return back to promise. You know what I mean? But it's just not going to happen. Chicago is garbage. They keep saying that they're going to be the #1 seed coming out of the East and this and that, and it's not going to happen. Chicago's not going to be the #1 seed. You know, you're getting rid of Carlos Boozer. Shall I say he's gone. He's already in L.A. He should have been gone like 2-3 years ago. You should have got rid of Luol Deng, you know, a long time ago, way before they did. You know, they messed up when they let go of Nate Robinson. You know what I mean? If you would have kept Nate Robinson and kept the team that you had intact when he was there, then they would be. Then you can talk to me about them being coming out of the East #1. But you let go of Nate, and before you picked up Nate, you had a pretty good team that LeBron had to end up facing when they had Watson over there. You know, I forget the other point guard that they had that hated LeBron. You know, and LeBron ended up putting his nuts on the back of his neck, you know, when he dunked on him. But it's just one of those things, man. I just believe that Kevin Love needs to do what he wants to do, and you know, and go to Cleveland and play in Cleveland, where I think is a good thing, because they keep talking about a shortage of stars in the league, and these guys teaming up together is just not good for the game. I think it's excellent for the game, especially for Cleveland, you know, a team that hasn't been known for doing anything, you know, with LeBron and without LeBron. You know what I'm saying? They haven't been known for doing anything. So if they win, what does that do for the game? You know what I mean? So for me, I'm not listening to these guys. You know, I'm not listening to them. I'm not listening to the GMs. I'm not listening to the media. And I'm listening to social media. You know, everybody hates a particular player until they come play for their team. Then all of a sudden, he's the best thing that ever happened to the sport. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here, man. I just want to give you guys something to think about when it comes down to Kevin Love, the NBA, what they're doing, or shall I say trying to do, how they want you to think. And I mean, this is pretty much what's going on, man, with these media guys. I mean, it's pissing me off to keep hearing, you know, you going in one direction and then going in another one. But anyway, Kevin Love should be in Cleveland, you know, I would say by the end of next week, we should hear something, if not this week. I'll let you boy. Peace.